Today I'm going to show you how I expand my Zettelkasten. We'll start with a source, then I'm going to walk you all the way through to the creation of a new permanent note in the Zettelkasten. The way it starts is I read books and I highlight. I highlight to pick up what are called reference notes. Reference notes are like quotes and exact copies of stuff that someone else wrote, which of course what they wrote is what they thought. I look at reference notes as the starting point to dialogue with an author. And here's an example where I've highlighted Nakamoto's platform addresses the problem of monopoly power of the platform itself from the book Platform Revolution. I use a tool called Readwise. Readwise is going to pick up that quote, it's going to drop it into my Readwise queue, and it's going to sync it to Roam Research. In Roam Research, my highlight shows up like this with a link back to the source. If I click that, it will simply take me back here to the Kindle book in the web browser. That is super useful. And so here in Tana, you can see that I have my Zettelkasten, and when we're talking about Nakamoto, we're talking about Bitcoin. Nakamoto created Bitcoin. Readwise automatically surfaced this quote for me when I was doing some other research. And this quote, Nakamoto's platform addresses, is really relevant to some other research I'm doing right now in platforms. And the Bitcoin network as a platform is a fascinating concept. When you're going to extend your Zettelkasten, you usually want to connect a note to other notes. So we're going to use this as the source for a new note. We'll just grab this quote here. We'll go over to Tana and we'll just go to today. This is going to be fleeting notes. What I'll do is I just started the process, and I'll just go ahead and call this a permanent note. I'm just going to go drill right down in there, and I'm going to minimize everything that I can because I want to get that out of the way so I can just work on this note. This is not the final state of my note for sure. It's just a start. In fact, I'm going to copy that and I'm going to put it in fleeting notes because that's all that really is. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to get the source and I'm going to put that in reference notes because that is in fact an exact reference. We will take the source material portion of that away from the quote itself and hit this, and we'll put sources. I don't like that. Reference notes should have a source field. So let's fix that right now. I'll click this little thing here and let's see, we got plain. So reference notes are plain. We can make reference notes an instance of source. Let's just go with that for right now. And go over here and we'll put our reference note back in. And you'll see now, because this reference note is an instance of source, it's asking me if I want to tag that as a source. Once I tag something as a source, I get the source schema and I have a URL field to put the source in. So I'm just going to do exactly that and we have it. So that URL would take me all the way back to the actual quote in the book on my Amazon Kindle. This is very valuable. And so now we have reference notes with source material. Great. Let's keep going. I want to create a new permanent note. This is just draft material. So let's remove that right now so we're not confused. And now we just need to think a little bit. One of the easiest ways to create a permanent note is to write some fleeting notes that you then effectively roll up to the permanent note. You do that often in the context of your reference notes. And the key right here is that they called Bitcoin Nakamoto's platform. That's what got my attention. And now I stated that Bitcoin is a platform. This fact, or this claim, is not discussed very much. People don't really talk about Bitcoin as a platform, but I absolutely believe that Bitcoin is a platform. And I'm remembering also that it's probably related to my Bitcoin virus note. So let's just go ahead. This note is definitely going to be connected to that. So I've just done that. And let's go back and check. So let's delete this. And what did I say? Let's go back and check this section. That was just a note to myself. And I wanted to see any other comments mentioning Nakamoto in this book. So let's come back over here, search for Nakamoto, and this appears to be the only quote that I highlighted. If I go back to the actual book though, and I search for Nakamoto, I will find these 5 results. Let's see what we've got. This is just referencing the Bitcoin paper. Oh, well, this is super relevant. So Nakamoto's platform, okay, let's actually highlight this. Nakamoto's invention has given birth to a new kind of platform, one with open architecture and governance model, but no central authority. This is fascinating. Having no need for gatekeepers. Let's just go ahead and highlight that. Now, eventually, that's going to end up in Rome research. Nakamoto's invention. So that is relevant. Let's see if there is anything else. I think we have everything we're going to get from this book. I am just going to copy this out for now. I'm just going to hit Command C, and we're going to go back over to Tonic. We have it. We will then take this source information, tag as source as we did before. I'm just going to put that there. It's fine. I'll fix that later. I went back later and fixed that. Said robot AI Kent. I got a couple of great quotes in here and a really nice citation there to use later. So let's continue to synthesize our note. What we can do now is we can start to put this in our own words. We can elaborate on them. We can flip towards a platform. This claim is a little discussed. Bitcoin as a platform that is open and using a decentralized governance model is a proto-DAO. Of course, made that word up, but it's the prototypical DAO. And I've got a bunch of other notes and research that talk about DAOs and co-ops and decentralized organizations, kind of connecting my thinking here. Bitcoin has no need for a gatekeeper. Gatekeeper in this context is otherwise known as centralization, or a command and control, top-down operational model, or governance. Let's say operational model, governance, or decision making. Let's see what else. I do not find this piece relevant to my research. I'm just going to delete it. Okay, so what we have here is ultimately platforms can become a monopoly when very successful. Bitcoin's very design, or Bitcoin's just too many words. Bitcoin's design as a platform obviates this before it can ever begin. What I'm actually doing here is building up a series of claims that I should be able to arrange into a cogent argument such that it becomes the note. So I'm going to shortcut that a little bit today so that we don't go too crazy. And I think we have enough fleeting notes here to consider what our permanent note might look like. And now the way I will do that is by beginning to try to compose this into a note. So let's try this. A little discussed detail about Bitcoin is that it is a platform. It is a decentralized platform that has no need for centralized management or control. It has been this way from the start. Bitcoin has an open governance model, and it has been this way. And I'm going to take this. This makes it unique. Let's see. A little discussed detail about Bitcoin is that it is a platform. It is a decentralized platform that has no need for centralized management or control. Bitcoin has an open governance model as a platform. This makes it unique in the world of organizations. I think we stop there. This is going to be my actual permanent notes. I'm going to roll it right up to the top where we have these little dots before. And we need to give this a name. So we need an index term for it. It's a little detail about how I create these index terms. It's usually just a short snippet about what's going on. So Bitcoin is a platform, is what I would say. In Tana, I make this what's called an inline node. The way I do that, just for the record, is you highlight what you want to be the link. You highlight what you want to be the node. You hit ampersand, and then you hit Command Enter. And now that is a new inline node. And we're going to tag it as a term. So Bitcoin, and I did not type that the way I wanted, so I'm actually going to edit it really quick, as a platform. So there, now it's fixed. Bitcoin is a platform. I've tagged it as a term. Now I'm going to click Control C. You'll see node placed on clipboard, and I'm going to copy it up here like this. Why are you not doing that? Why are you doing this to me? Oh, I see. So I'm going to take my new term and I'm going to make it the header here of my permanent note, because I use these as entry points and as navigational tools to traverse my notes. I use terms as the primary navigation tool to traverse my notes. I also use terms as the primary means to link multiple notes together. During my fleeting notes work, I've created a bunch of claims. And this is a really important one. I'll end up disassembling my fleeting notes. They're temporary anyway. This is what they're meant for. I'll take my temporary notes and I'll start to disassemble them into the correct place on my Zettelkasten. Bitcoin is a platform is actually a claim, and so I want to tag it as such. we're consuming it to fill out our notes. We've created our permanent note, we've created our index term, and what we have not, and we've connected actually this new permanent note to at least one of our old notes. One of the next things that I want to do is to connect any new note to as many, this is backlinking. You want to backlink any new note to as many relevant notes as possible. So I'll come in here and I'll type something like Bitcoin, and I'm going to see what we got. War, platform, virus. But yeah, I think I'll connect it back to that. So we're done. This is good enough. We have actually created a new permanent note, added it to our Zettelkasten, and backlinked it to existing notes. This is so cool. Now, if we go back to this original note, this note existed previously to this new note being created. So if I go to that note now, you'll see that that note has a new relevant node, or exit point, if you like, from the permanent note called Bitcoin virus to Bitcoin as a platform. If I click on Bitcoin as a platform, we'll find that there's the permanent note we just made, but it has no exit points. Why? Because no new note has yet been entered into the system that links back to this note. I may want sometimes when I see something like this dead end is actually an invitation to extend the note. Bitcoin as platform. It's really wonderful once you get the hang of this to go through and do it. It's just super fun. The next video, I drill down into a note and I start to add questions.